Hello and welcome to episode 167 of the 77 Club. Harry, start with the socials.
The Wall 77 Club on Facebook and Instagram, at 77 Club Podcast on Twitter, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Please subscribe and tell a friend.
Jack Williams is here.
Hi, everybody.
Just for a bit of context, there was the podcast was almost dissolved earlier because Bayliss had a massive hissy fit about not being able to go, and it's a big, long, boring story, and now he's not here. So
he hasn't turned up. He said he would, and he hasn't turned up.
He's actually stood us up.
I don't know what it means. Yeah. He's taken a stand clearly. But look, let's talk about probably one of the most mental games of football ever, Harry. We were sort of giving you a little bit of stick last week because you got offered a ticket, but unfortunately you had to be a good dad instead, which I can sort of see where you're coming from.
Ironically, Bayliss had the ticket I got offered, which...
He's had your ticket and he can't be asked to turn up because he's a
twat.
He's good.
Oh, that's genius. I didn't know that. But Jack, you were in the away end. I was actually in the home end because I had tickets through work. So we had spies all over the place. And we actually bumped into each other, didn't we, Jack, on the way? Bumped into each other at New Street. So we were sort of, I mean, you were pretty, well, you weren't too bad. I mean, I knew Bayliss was drunk because he was shouting at everybody. And that's when you know Bayliss is drunk. But just talk about your day and the build up to it.
It was a pretty standard away day, really. Early train, Wetherspoon's breakfast because we're classy, and a few pints. Met a few people, and then it was a pain to get served in some of the pubs. Were like rammed early as you'd expect, really. So even from 11 o'clock, it was tough to get in some of the pubs. We found this little crafty beer bar, which was quite empty, and we sat there for a few hours, and then got the train to the game, which is where I met you, and all standard nice away day, really, and followed by some terrible football, followed by one of the most insane 15 minutes I've ever witnessed watching Wolves, really. But what a day.
Harry, what was your morning looking like? Because I think the little one had his kit on, didn't he?
Yeah, and well, he naps in the afternoon, so he's asleep for the first half. But
does he get that from you, does he?
He does, yeah. No, I mean, I think it's funny talking about not going, because I remember messaging you lot on WhatsApp saying when it was 2-0, down, I was like, God, I'm glad I didn't go now. And then when that ending happened, I was like, oh my God, I've just missed one of the best away days ever. But oh well. Do you want to get into the game? I don't know.
It was one of those, wasn't it? I mean, the opening 20 minutes, I thought, bloody hell, this is going to be a brilliant game. It was sort of end to end. A couple of people making mistakes and stuff, but you expect it in a derby, bit of atmosphere and stuff, and good atmosphere at Villa Park. He said it sounded a bit dead on TV, Harry.
It did. It sounded, because I messaged you, didn't I? I said, is it good in the ground? Because it started off all right, obviously, but then it went really quiet, and you'd expect the Villa fans to be proper up for it. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, you hear the Wolves fans. You always hear the Wolves fans singing.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, it was just for 3 o'clock on a Saturday. I thought it'd be like a raucous atmosphere, but just a bit quiet in spells. But I'm assuming it's different in the ground.
Quite well matched as well, Jack. Only sort of little tweaks and changes probably for the front three of either side. But Dean Smith had gone for pretty much the same formation that Bruno had gone for.
Yeah, I also thought it was weird. I mean, we definitely miss Jimenez, didn't we? When we're looking at the lineups, it's weird that they sort of played their players who'd been away in the same location later. I know they're the subs as well, but obviously Jimenez was the big missing link, and he's decided to go and play Hwang and Traore both up front together, which, let's be honest, just didn't work. It's just not the same. I think I'd have rather just even played Fabio, at least kept an actual striker out there, because you were trying to play two wingers as, leading the line as in a sort of two up front situation, and it just didn't really work. We didn't create very much. Obviously, the main chance we had in the first half was that Adama run, which out of nowhere. It's a great run. It's a shot. As I said, it's a broken record, but if he could finish, he'd be one of the best players in the world. But he did really well to get into that position. But apart from that first half, I thought it was pretty average and pretty boring, really. And then obviously it all did sort of kick off in the second half. But I don't know. I think when it got to 2-0, did 2-0 flatter Villa? Maybe a little bit. That Ings goal was a good goal, to be fair to him. I know that, I think it was Sace who got done with the cross, didn't he? And then the header. But it's a good finish. The second one from McGinn is lucky, and it's a deflection. But we'll get onto that in a minute.
Harry, it's maybe a second time this season where Sarr has been almost too honest, because he was down on the floor, and I mean, not much he could do about it, was there really?
No, the goals. I agree for both goals. I agree. The first one, Sace had a bit of a mare. He got done too easily. He got
for the second one, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That was such a terrible pass.
Shocking. He had a poor game.
It's so funny because we were saying that, weren't we, after the Newcastle game? We were all praising him. You watch him have a shocker against Villa, and he did. He had an early chance. Remember his early chance he had as well when he got put through and tried to Thierry Henry at bottom corner, but he got blocked. Then he gave the ball away, and good header. I agree, but Kilman and Cody just watched things. They just let him do what he wanted, and great header. And then the second goal, as you mentioned, Hwang, and then great volley, but he did take a deflection on the way through, didn't it? I remember seeing the replay, looking at slight deflection.
Yeah.
But honestly, at that point, I'm just like, it's over. And I agree, the starting lineup, by the way, why he didn't just put Fabio in there, but maybe he was thinking, put 3 in midfield because they've got a packed midfield as well, haven't they? And he's probably worried about that. And Dendoncker at times was almost right forward. He kept drifting up and going onto the right of the 3. So I was just getting confused. And first half, I think Villa edged it. But both had good chances. And Sarr's save, by the way, for Ings. That was brilliant.
Yeah, it was.
But the first half, very even. And then go 2-0 down. It's just, I don't know, it's mad, isn't it?
I thought it was game over as well because we didn't create very much. I know we had a couple of chances in the first half from Traore, but after that and after going 2-0 down, it was just flat, and you could see that the 2 up front wasn't working. The 3 in midfield wasn't. What's the point of having 3 midfielders if you can't create a chance? It doesn't make any sense. I'd much rather at least play with the wingers. Obviously, then everyone was slating Bruno because it's like, why has he left it so late to change it? Why has he left it so late? And I was in that. I was like, this is really
74 minutes.
I was absolutely, every Wolves fan in there was slating him up until about 75 minutes. And it's like, this is just, it's terrible. They're taking the piss now. They're 2-0.
Should have seen Twitter
scoring.
And Facebook. They wanted him out, Jack.
I think he got the team selection wrong. He got the tactics wrong. But somehow brings on little Daniel Podence and he gets him massively out of jail. It's like, I said this on Twitter, I think, but Podence is man of the match for me. He came on and changed that game. Before
he's
that,
better than Jota, and that's just a fact.
Well, he's every now and then. He's kind of like Jota. He's good once every 3 games, but when he's
really
good,
good value. He's cheaper. Yeah. It was one of those crazy games. I'm not saying I'm like Mystic Sam or anything, but I remember before we took that corner in the 80th minute, I remember looking at the scoreboard and thinking, I can just feel something here. I can feel it. And then, what a absolutely mental 15 minutes after that. My God. Because obviously I've sat with all the Villa fans in the Trinity Road End stand going, oh my God, just don't know what to do. And because everyone around is absolutely balling and having a great time, great Saturday day out. Then that one goes in. And when the equaliser went in, and I can remember I was sat there for 5 minutes with my hands over my head,
trying to pretend that you're
upset. They were like, "Are you all right?" I was like, "Oh, fucking can't believe it! I cannot believe
pretending
it."
You'd gutted, oh no! You've had to do that twice this season now. Watford and Villa.
And then I went with my cousin. He's a Villa fan, and Neves won the free kick, and I was like, "Mate, don't worry about it. He always skies it. He never gets it on target." And then absolutely pisses it against target.
Yeah, that joke was doing the rounds, isn't it? Brilliant.
Well, that's the thing. Wolves put it out after, didn't they, Harry? And they say, right, settle this once and for all, on target or off target. They deleted it. Why did I thought that was absolutely genius.
Brilliant.
It's genius. It's not offending anybody. It's got 2 meanings.
But who's backlashed against that? It's not like us when it's 2 a.m. and we're drunk and we're we're kicking off on Twitter and we're deleting the next day.
Slightly unprofessional, maybe. I don't know.
I thought it was funny. It's a play on words, and it's funny, and it actually makes sense. Genius. It's genius. I don't know why they deleted that because it's actually hilarious. But
I think. Sorry, go on, Jack.
No, go on.
No, I was just going to say I was going to talk about the goals and why I think it changed. Not only was it Podence coming on, because they took off that Luis who'd been away, and he was really good for them, wasn't he? And was it that Buendia as well? They took off, I think, and he was okay first half, kept drifting into the box. But that as soon as that happened, Podence, he was like a man possessed, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Some of his corners were poor, in the first man, but he was getting a few digs at it. And that first one, the pass from Neves, took out 4 of their players, and then a great cross to Sace of all people. He always pops up, doesn't he? And Bailey said that, didn't he? Last week, he always pops up with a goal, and he did. What a goal, man.
Lovely. After that first goal win, though, I didn't even celebrate because I was still pissed off about how shit it was. I was like, this is rubbish. This is terrible. Then Cody scored, and it was like, absolute pandemonium. It was great.
I've never slagged him off. I've always rated Cody.
You're his number one fan. You've always been kind words, always from Harry. What was it like when that Neves free kick eventually crossed the line?
It was chaos, because especially the thing is with Villa fans is like, even I watched, because obviously I was just loving the whole weekend afterwards. I watched Match of the Day about 3 times, and then
that's about 2 minutes worth of content in total.
Yeah, but then started watching like the Villa fans' vlogs and stuff, and like you're going through them before, and they're like thinking, "Oh, what do you think today?" Like, "Oh, we're pushing for Europe. They're a poor team. I think we will be all right. Might be a close game." But they honestly thought, listening to them, that they were 10 points ahead of us in the Champions League spots, because they think that's how the difference is. And then the worst thing that can happen to someone who's deluded is they go 2-0 up. And if you go 2-0 up, particularly with 10 minutes left, then it's just absolutely hilarious. When I don't care how the goal went in last, it was absolutely brilliant. There were seats flying everywhere. Half the bloody fans were on the pitch, but it was just like, it's beautiful when you think people who think they're better than they are, and suddenly they get brought back down to earth in the space of 15 minutes, and they're crying about it. Oh, it's brilliant. It's
Harry,
one of those games where we didn't deserve anything from that game. We were
100%.
The fact it's a smash and grab, and as soon as we went to 2-2, and as soon as they got the ball back, I was like, just take 2-2, lads. 2-2 is great. It's brilliant. Don't concede. And then Adama wins that free kick, and somehow Neves, who can't hit a barn door lately, still screws a free kick up.
It was going up the stand. I think it's going to target.
Sam was going to catch it.
I know. Yeah. Well, no. Big shout out for Adama for the part he played in those goals, though, because Harry, I mean, lots of people saying, well, it would have been goal of the season if he'd have scored the one that he went on that amazing run. But you've got to say kudos.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that amazing run, but apart from that and him getting the free kick and him whipping the ball back in for Cody's goal, he didn't really do much, did he? So he had a bit of a frustrating off day. But considering what he's did, like being so involved in the last 2 goals, you've got to give him credit, on the day. So he showed his worth in that aspect, I suppose, driving forward in the last minute. But I mean, I just on the goals again, when Cody scored, I went absolutely tits in my front room, thinking we have stole a point here. And when Neves hit that, it was almost like it didn't feel real when it trickled in. I was like, no way. And
I know. That's the thing, isn't it? Like that.
Right? I've never envied not being in an away end so much in my life. I was sat here and obviously seeing all the fans running on, the stewards trying to grab them, and I was just like, why? I wish I was in that fucking away end right now, especially the lower tier. It just looked like absolute carnage. Like that's what away day's all about, isn't it? Like goals.
100%. And to be fair, like it was a decent atmosphere leaving the ground as well, because we all took the train and stuff, and there was no trouble or anything like that. And there was.
Well, hold on, Sam. You say that, Mr. Miami.
Mr. Miami, Harry, you know more about this because I didn't see that. I saw him at New Street, and he was like with 2 girls, and then I think he was just trying to get out of the way of everybody, and he was sort of like going hi bye sort of thing. But what was that about? That's pre-game, wasn't it?
Look, I mean, the other week I was on Talking Wolves the other week, and they did a Room 101 feature, and I said put Mr. Miami in, bit tongue in cheek, but obviously he's winding people up. Honestly, on a serious, I don't care. We spoke about it before, haven't we? He's employed by the club. He gets tickets. But he got abused by, we won't mention who it is, but everyone knows on Twitter who it is. And he got abused in person. He was with his missus as well, Mr. Miami. And but looking at all the videos I've seen of Mr. Miami, he seems like such a nice bloke, like a top bloke. And for him, I know we were 2-0 down at the time as well, which probably didn't help. And obviously feelings were high. But he just got absolutely abused. And apparently other Wolves fans had to separate him, because obviously it was all going to kick off. And I don't know, man. And honestly, we'd won 3-2, and like obviously Twitter was going mental, but all I kept seeing was about Mr. Miami as well popping up. It's all like, you know what I mean? You'd think it'd be all about the game, but I don't know. It's just ridiculous, isn't it? Starting on him, it's a bit out of line for me.
It's 2021, isn't it? Influencers have influence. Shock horror. And if football clubs are going to be successful, even if you're in your Premier League, you're then automatically a global brand with a huge pull. So I mean, it's not going to go away. Harry Martin's put a comment in the comment section. Did you see that Villa account on Twitter giving the big one with 10 minutes to go and went private so we can reply to him? I think I've got it.
Wesley, is it?
Boyle, yeah. So I've got it. It says "get in" and then all the exclamation marks in the world. Another 3 points towards our top 4 dreams. McGinn, man of the match.
That's what I mean. Deluded,
1636 or something like that. So, literally just before.
He wasn't the only one. There was others who actually. Fair play to old Wesley Boyle. He didn't delete the tweet. There's a few others that commented and said 3 points, blah blah blah. Started kicking off. You don't celebrate before the final whistle, do you? Especially when it's 2-0. If it was 6-0, maybe. But like, it's, you're asking for trouble. But I mean, what a day! I can't believe we absolute smash and grab. We didn't deserve anything. We could have easily got nothing. But it's a good away day when you come back, and I've still got bruises up and down my leg.
Good.
Jack, didn't you get held down by a police officer or something when you were celebrating?
Oh, they should. They're one of them. Oh no, not celebrating. I was walking out the ground because I was. Yeah, it got a bit. It was a bit hostile a bit at the end.
Was it hostile?
But a police officer just shoved me out of the way. I didn't even see it coming. To be fair,
did you stack it?
No, I didn't stack it. No, I kept my balance, but I was like, oh, I've had enough of that. I'm going to the pub. Can't be arsed.
Look, I was saying on I did my post-match video. I know we've had the Man City one, and we've had obviously 3-2 against Southampton. But can you remember the last time we scored 3 goals in the last 10 minutes? Was the Man City one the last 10 minutes? It weren't that late, was it?
When was
the Man City one? The home one against Man City and around. The
no, that was like just after half time, wasn't it?
Yeah, I can't think. I can't remember 3 goals after the 80th minute to win. It's just mind blowing.
I'd love to know. I'm sure you could have a look on Betfair.
There will be stats,
what price we were as well. Like with 10 minutes left, 2-0 down after barely having a chance in the second half. Let's be honest. Like what did we even create? And I know Cody scored, but he didn't know much about it, did he? He just did.
I love the celebration though. I mean, of all the criticism we've given the bloke, definitely me, by the way, his passion. It's incredible, isn't it, when he scores? Obviously, even when he don't score, he's the first one to jump on people's shoulders. But yeah, saying that though, the scenes for Neves was 10 times as mad.
Some of them photos are brilliant, man. So the photographers have done a great job.
Like
it's always better, and it's like, and also to celebrate. Like absolutely go mental when you've just the last 2 goals were rich, one just hit him and got in, and the other one's rubbish. And the Villa fans, they're celebrating like they've won the league. Oh yeah, because you wouldn't have done exactly the same.
Oh my god,
like you were 10 minutes ago. Yeah. Top 4.
And that as well, was it? I can't remember if it was the first or second goal when Kilman smashed the underside of the bar just before.
That's just happened, and then because he nearly scored. I think Kilman's going to score at some point quite soon. I think, particularly if he keeps doing that. But that's when it broke to Adama and he crossed it to Dendoncker.
That was it.
And so it basically ended up in the goal anyway, but they did start to panic, didn't they? They started to panic when after that first goal went in. You could tell that they weren't comfortable at all.
You could sense it, couldn't you? Like Sam said, you could sense it a little bit when we got that first.
But I wasn't expecting that. I thought even after the first one went in, I thought, nah, we ain't going to score again. We're not that sort of team. But somehow that's one of those away days that will go down in history just because it was
weird
hilarious.
Weird.
One player, Harry, that split opinion, and I think you put a tweet out, a Twitter poll about it, because just looking at the Express and Star ratings, Liam Keane gave Semedo a 5 out of 10. 5 out of 10. Semedo got into good positions at times, but struggled to do much with the ball. Not a terrible showing, but not decisive enough. 5 out of 10. And he's very, very Marmite, isn't he? And it's becoming even more so quite divisive of some people go, no, I'm just not changing my mind on him. And others are going, he contributes so much. And which camp one do we know out of that?
Yeah, so I've got a few points on this. So basically this argument came about. Bailey said, I wish he was here for this, to be honest, because it was created between me and him arguing again. Shock. But first off, I thought Semedo, although frustrating at times, he's probably our only outlet. We was attacking down the right so much. Caused him a few problems, but I agree. Second half, he had an absolute shocker. But you look on your timeline, and it's literally like you just said, Sam. People are praising him, saying, "Wow, Semedo's been good today." Other people are saying he's a joke, he's crap, and a lot of it's to his price tag. I mean, he probably should be doing slightly better than he has because of his price tag, and he does go back a lot. But with that formation, he didn't have much in front of him. Do you know what I mean? And if he keeps trying to bomb down the wing, he's getting tackled. He'd get criticised, wouldn't he? So I don't know. It is Marmite because that poll I put on. I think I put awful, average, and brilliant. I think average was like miles ahead, and awful and brilliant was about 18% each. So, like you said, man, people are really split on Semedo now, and obviously Bayless just thinks he's absolutely shocking. So,
Jack, does it come down to price tag? Because I mean, I know you've used it's different because it's a goalkeeper, but you've used Kepa at Chelsea as an example, where you can spend £70 million on a player and he can be on the bench.
I mean, I know it's different, but he's the same price as Fabio Silva, and he's done more than Fabio Silva has. And people seem to love him. I know there's the whole age thing and the younger thing. I think people's main gripe is that has he been an upgrade on Doherty, particularly in terms of his goal involvements? And the answer to that is probably no on paper, but I don't think he's always worth he's kind of an easy target now because of that. But overall, I don't think the wing backs, as I said this last week, I don't think the wing backs have been good enough lately. Either of them.
Marcel
was
had a poor game.
And overall, that team performance on Saturday for 75 minutes was terrible. I don't think any players at more than a 5 out of 10 based on that first 75 minutes. I thought they were all poor. Podence came on, he's 9 out of 10 because he's changed the game. You look at the moments then of brilliance from Neves and from Traore. But, that's Traore had 3 good moments, granted, which led to 2 goals out of the game and 1 good chance. Neves, again, had that great pass and the goal. So I think you kind of forget how poor that first 75 minutes was, and it kind of overshadows because everyone's so happy.
No, because it turns out it was the greatest game ever. So.
Just based on the last 15 minutes. But I think the team performance on Saturday was very worrying, particularly for the first 75 minutes. And there's a lot to work on, so let's not get carried away. But who cares? We did them over. Screw it.
We love it because what was that now? Villa are 13th on 10 points, Wolves up to 10th on 12 points. And, last 5 games, 4 wins. And,
that's
it's a habit.
Thing, it feels like
great habit.
It feels like all like the slight bad luck we had in those first 3 games has all flooded in for the last few games, obviously.
Yeah, and the performances have flipped.
Yeah,
that's very true. The performances have been better in the first 3 games than they have in the 5 that followed that. But we've got 12 points.
So we've been happy for every single game, regardless, because either we've been happy with playing well or we won.
Apart from Brentford's just an early kick-off in it. We'll let it go. But it's like that is mad. If you just said after those first 3 games you go on to win 4 out of 5, that's really good. I know we've fluked it a little bit, particularly on Saturday.
Top 4's on.
So I was going to say that's top 4 form.
I mean, we've got again the favourable run continues, really, doesn't it? If you're looking ahead to Saturday, it's a team against Leeds who have.
But then December, obviously, is horror show in it, so let's not get too carried away.
But
let's have a look at Leeds actually, and I hadn't looked at the table for a long time, but they're down to 17th in the league, Harry. Is this a good time to play him? Is the Bielsa effect sort of coming to an end? Is the Leeds party bus breaking down?
Maybe a little bit, but they have had a few injuries, haven't they? I know a few of their key players have been out, Ailing and people like that. I think Rafinha's might be back this weekend, so they're going to have their tails up and they're going to really want to win because, as you mentioned, they're down there. Wolves at home, they're going to be looking at that, thinking we've got to win this. And if they look into it deeply, like we've mentioned, we haven't played that well, so that'll probably make them fancy it even more. But at the moment, we're finding a way, aren't we? No matter how we're playing, we're finding a way to win. I hope Raul comes back in after being rested from being away and go back to the, not 2 up front again, basically, have the 3 up front. And if we play well and play anything like we did in the first 3 games and put our chances away, we could batter them, couldn't we? Because they can't defend, really. Let's be honest. They just go all out attack. And if we play our cards right, we'll just pick them off and hopefully beat them by a few goals. Fingers crossed.
Jack, you mentioned the wing backs there, and they're not quite hitting the form that you want them to. I think Marcel is probably the weaker of the 2. You probably agree. Is it an 8-Nori game against Leeds?
Well, we said this last week, but it's not going to happen, I don't think. I think the thing with Marcel is he started quite strong, but he's injury prone. He's an older chap as well, isn't he? So I don't think he's going to be able to last the whole season because I think his form has dipped a little bit, even though I think, as I said, he started quite well. So I think they're going to have to switch him up at some point. Whether Leeds is the right game to do that, I don't know. I mean, think back to last season. These were 2 Nuno masterclasses, weren't they? These 2. This is kind of when this is what we did, let them run themselves ragged in the first half and then win the game in the second half. And whether Lage will do that or not, I'm not quite so sure. But I think Jimenez just straight away go back to playing the 3 up front and Jimenez in the middle makes a massive difference to any team. Like it really does. He's had a rest now. They've all had a few days off. He's recovered from his jet lag, and hopefully he'll get back to the sort of the runs he was doing against Newcastle and Southampton, because that just makes us a different team altogether. You can't have 2 wingers playing up front. It just doesn't work.
And he was giving daggers, wasn't he, to Bruno when he was on the sidelines, Harry? Just like he just held off. But it's great that he's got the enthusiasm that he wants to get on the pitch again. So it just seems that the head injury isn't really playing on his mind too much. He wants to get going.
Oh yeah, you wouldn't expect anything less from him, would you? Him looking at a game like that, he'd be craving to get on. And I think it's a controversial decision from Bruno, isn't it? Really, bringing Fabio on instead, but considering he'd travelled back miles a few days before, I think he probably made the right decision. We're going to say that because we won, aren't we? But yeah, get him straight back in, and hopefully he's all guns blazing. Because he got a goal for Mexico, didn't he? He scored. Did he pure penalty, I think, for him in that late game? So fair play to him.
Is that middle 3 good enough, Jack? And does it need changing up a little bit? Dendoncker, Moutinho, and Neves.
I think it will go back to the 2, but like, what choice have we got? If you play 3 midfielders, we got 3 midfielders. So, like, I don't really know what to suggest really, because we know that we're short in centre back and centre midfield. I'm not sure, to be honest, against Leeds. I think he'll go back to a 2, but I'd imagine he might go back to Neves and Moutinho, to be honest, because that seemed to be the preferable
I was thinking that. So I thought Dendoncker was all right. Like obviously he set up Cody. It's a weird one between those 3, isn't it? Obviously Neves is obviously the solid one, and then it's a coin flip really between Moutinho and Dendoncker.
I don't mind Dendoncker coming in, particularly for an away game at Leeds, like that. I just like he's a bit more of a bigger physical presence, isn't he? But
yeah, up front,
maybe they play 3.
The front 3 is the weird one, because obviously Hwang had an absolute shocker.
And Pedence
come on and was like supersonic, literally lived up to his name. And then would you start Traore? I think it'd be Traore on form. You'd go pretty Traore, Raul, Pedence. But I'd probably give Hwang another go, because he was in a weird formation. He hadn't played with Traore before on his own, really, had he, up front? And as you mentioned, he linked well with Raul, didn't he, against the 2? So maybe give him another go.
I agree. I'd go with that as well, but I think obviously Podence will feature, particularly if it's not going the way we need to. He'll be on pretty sharpish after that performance, because that's he did really, really well. It's good. We've always got like abundance of talent in the wing areas. I mean, forgetting about Trincao, because Trincao will be back, won't he?
Yeah.
So that could go back to him as well. But I'd like to have another go with Adama, Traore, and Adama, Hwang, and Raul. Is what I'm trying to say. There we go.
Yeah, because the bench against Villa, I mean, Trincao is a great point there, but Hoover, Nori, Jimenez, Pedence, and then Malden, Bolly, Silva, Ruddy, and Kundal, and you just look at it and go, where are the game changers? In this case, it was Pedence. There was at least one on the bench who wasn't knackered, and you just think it's not strong enough, is it?
Hold on. What's baffling me still is how Bolly's still not in the team as well. When's he going to be back in?
So is he come for now? Sace and Cody have scored at the weekend.
Yeah, but although Sace scored, he's like, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say Cody personally, but it ain't going to happen, is it?
No.
It's going to be Sace.
I don't
You're doing so well, Harry. You're doing so well, then. Yeah.
No, maybe put Kilman. Maybe put Kilman on the left, because although Kilman was decent and ran out a few times, he always looked really uncomfortable on his right foot. When he's put under a bit of pressure, he just panics and like whacks it down the line, or it's out for a throw in on his right foot. So I'd put him on the left and put maybe Bolly on the right of the 3.
I know Bolly must be like thinking, what's going on here? Like under Nuno, he's the first back in when he runs as soon as he was fit, apart from Cody, obviously. But
I'd be hard pushed to find a Wolves fan that wouldn't have him on like as one of the first names on the team sheet.
Best defender, in my opinion.
I would like if everyone's 100% fit, and the way it's gone so far this season, it would be Cody, Kilman, and Bolly is what I'd play. I know it's probably harsh on Sace, but he's what he's like. He can score, but he's got a mistake in him as well. He was done for their first goal. Let's be honest. Watching that back.
Is there a place in the midfield for him, though?
That's what I was thinking, put him back in midfield. That's where he started off, isn't it? That's where he started off.
Don't play him in his normal, natural position.
But when he was playing midfield in the Championship...
He wasn't good enough.
Yeah, I suppose. But I remember when he first moved to defence, and he was kind of just like filling in, wasn't he? I know he played there for... Is it Morocco it is, isn't it?
Morocco, yeah.
So he had played there for Morocco, but I remember all the Wolves fans going, why is he in defence? Like he's But then he just stayed there, didn't he? And he never went back to midfield, so...
Well, I worked with Stephen Ward when he went. Let's do a score prediction, Harry.
Oh my God! So I was kind of joking last week when I said 4-1 Wolves against Villa, but because that created goals, I'm going to go 4-2 Wolves this week at Leeds.
4-2. Oh wow, there you go. He's been very kind to Leeds there. And Jack,
I can't see 4-2. I mean, we haven't had a draw yet, which is good. It's better to win 2 than draw 5, isn't it? So I don't mind this, but I think we're due a draw at some point, and they won't want to be losing at home. I said 2-2 last week for Villa, and I thought I got that right, but luckily I didn't. So I'm going to go with 1-1.
Perfect. Obviously 2-1 from me. If we can get some betting odds and ticket news, I mean, might start with the ticket news, and then we'll move on to Harry.
Bailey's not sent over the.
Of course he hasn't. I'll get some.
Has he not? This is shocking. It. I'll be honest. Ticket news wise, there isn't that much to say. Tickets for the Crystal Palace away game, which is on Harry's birthday, 6th of November, have gone on sale to the points today, starting with 1,070, I believe, and working the way down there. In terms of home games, I mean, the Everton home game is pretty much sold out, and there's nothing else on sale at the moment, really. The West Ham home game on the 20th of November, which is a 3:00 kickoff, goes on sale to the Membership Plus members as of Tuesday the 26th. And apart from that, there's not much to say, really. There's an open training session going on in half term. which
I'm
is
going
the
to that, by the way.
28th of October. Oh yeah.
Are you actually?
I'm off next week, and I'm taking Stanley. Yeah, so.
Oh
right, wow.
Yeah,
so his first time at Molineux.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just using him as an excuse to get a selfie with all the players. I'll be holding him, and then I go, "Have a picture, Cody." Well, not
sign my baby.
And then I'll just quickly throw Stanley out the way, and then just take it.
No. So there was also a couple of changes to the fixtures, wasn't there? They've sort of moved some games around over the festive period. So I've got me Wolves versus Burnley will now be on Amazon Prime. That's Wednesday, the 1st December, 7:30 kickoff. Wolves versus Liverpool, that's Saturday the 4th, and still at 3 o'clock. I have a feeling that could also get moved. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I think it depends of the. Oh, is it?
Yeah, I think once they've decided. So I think you're right.
Okay. Man City versus Wolves, the 11th of December, 12:30. That's on BT Sport. Brighton versus Wolves, Wednesday the 15th, 7:30. That is on BT Sport. Wolves versus Chelsea, Saturday the 18th. At 3 o'clock, but that could change according to the World Club Cup. Wolves versus Watford on Boxing Day. That is a 12:30 kickoff because bloody arseholes. Arsenal versus Wolves, Tuesday, 28th of December. It's a weird time, isn't it, that time of year? I don't know. You just go by days rather than dates. It's just a confusing time. 12:30 on a Tuesday. That is on Amazon Prime. And then to finish off, Manchester United versus Wolves, Monday, the 3rd of January at 5:30. That is on Sky Sports.
I'll be honest, like, none of those changes are good. They're all pretty shit. Like, the 12:30 on a Boxing Day, no one wants that. 12:30 for Man City away, no one wants that. And the worst one, I think, is the late kickoff on, basically, it's bank holiday Tuesday, isn't it? Or Monday, whatever it is. So it's like the last day before everybody goes back to work. We're playing away in Manchester and on the night.
Just.
Like, if I was going to go to that, I'd have to get back from London to Manchester on a bank holiday where there's no bloody, the trains are all over the place. So I'd probably miss out on it. And all for the sake of, that could have been a Saturday. That could have been like the Saturday game before, the weekend before everyone goes back to work on a bank holiday weekend. It would have been buzzing, but they've just moved it. And it's the same shit every year, isn't it?
Yeah, but we should be used to it by now.
But the thing is, we always seem to get drawn against the big teams over Christmas. If we were just playing Burnley and Watford, then we'd be fine. But because we're playing Man United, Man City, Chelsea, and Arsenal, every game's going to get moved.
Yeah.
But this, that's the one that really pissed me off is that I don't mind getting up on Boxing Day morning and going early because at least we'll be back early and we can go for a drink after. It's not the end of the world.
just one, yeah. It's just a half.
Well, go around to Harry's for 15 points. But the one that's pissed me off is the 3rd of January one at R5. That's just shit for everybody involved. And come on.
Do you want these odds?
Yeah, go on, hit us with some odds, Harry.
Yeah, they're obviously going to be too detailed, but the 13-10 Leeds, 5-2 for the draw, 15-8 we are. Is that, are we favourites? Yeah.
No, 15 to what price are Leeds, sorry?
13-10. Are they?
Leeds are favourites. Win just shy 2-1.
Yeah, 1-1, which is I think Jack had, isn't it? Is 6-1. My favourite. These are all bet 365, by the way. 4-1 Wolves is 50-1. 4-2 Wolves is 66-1. And Sam, you had 2-1. 11-1.
11-1.
And our favourite bet, Jack, that we won loads of money on, Leeds to be winning at half time, Wolves to winning at full time, 28-1.
Oh, not too bad. Not too bad.
Okay, bit of value out there. Excellent. Let's move on to some Wolves in the American market news. US investment firm has acquired a minority share in Fosun Sports, aimed at breaking into the American market. Just one of those things, Jack, do you reckon? Just trying to grow the brand little bit by little bit, but it's strange that it's the investment that way around.
I don't know too much about it really, but I'd imagine, Fosun, since they've come in really, whether it be China or America, have always been very focused on building that brand. And as we've seen, it's not just football. It's esports. It's all this messing about, they've put it in
esports again.
These sorts of things. So it's basically just any revenue stream really. And I think what they want to try and do is just be at the forefront of anything new that develops or happens. And putting the Wolves logo in the NBA games, these sort of things. It's all just these fingers in lots of pies and sort of just see what happens. But I think building us in America is not a bad thing. I know there was talk previously and came out this week when that news was announced about there being they were planning a preseason tour in America, but obviously had to get cancelled because of COVID, which would have been brilliant. I'd have loved to have gone to that, particularly with our American friends. But I think part of building the brand over there is now we touch wood and say we are an established Premier League team now, I think, basically. And the next step is to try and get some of that American money. And I hate to say it, I know people don't like it, Mr. Miami, whoever it might be, but people coming over and the tourist fans. But it's inevitably going to happen, and that's what they want to do. It's a revenue stream, and they seem to know what they're doing.
What's their name again? Have you got their name
there? They're based in Chicago. They're called Peak Six Investments.
Yeah, so they're is it Bournemouth and Roma they're involved with as well? Apparently, they've got links with them too. Obviously, I'm not too sure. It's nothing to do with the transfers, and that is it. It is the commercial side, isn't it?
Well, apparently, it says that they will inject some fresh funds as well as offer expertise and gives Wolves a presence in the US. So they own the esports brand Evil Geniuses.
That rings a bell.
So they partnered with Wolves back in July. And we said it, didn't we? Beginning of the season on the podcast, I asked you, in 30 years' time, what's going to be bigger, football or esports? And we just keep seeing it, don't we? All the time.
Obviously, we as well, the last year or so, the club are trying so many new things. And we said, didn't we, before we come on about this Huang He-Chan Squid Game t-shirt, which has rattled a lot of the older fan base, let's say, on Twitter.
Why is that rattled anybody? Who cares?
It's so strange. It's like
Squid Game, just sell normal shirts, mate.
It's funny, isn't it? Because that's what happens now, isn't it? It's like someone gets angry about a t-shirt that they don't have to wear or are ever going to buy. It's just mental.
I'll be honest, I probably would have brought it, but I didn't like the ending to Squid Game. So
did you not?
I'm going to not buy it.
Wait, no spoilers, obviously. We finished watching it the other night.
I weren't a fan of the ending.
Didn't like the ending.
Oh.
Why did he have his haircut like Sharon Osbourne at the end?
Did he not get his squid?
No spoilers.
He lost his squid.
He lost his squid, yeah. Oh, God. One final thing, just to talk about it. Newcastle, Steve Bruce gone. We're not really surprised. I mean, have they shown a little bit of love by giving him his 1,000th game in charge, Harry?
Yeah, it looks that way. And obviously, I weren't that bothered about it all, to be honest. But when I saw that quote that Jack put in earlier, even calling himself a cabbage head or something, it was quite a sad statement, wasn't it? Because he has had absolute pelters, and sometimes you do forget they are human, don't you? And players and managers, like me, when I slag off Cody, if he ever heard it, you know what I mean?
He does listen. I've got it here. He was speaking to the Telegraph, Steve Bruce. He says, I think it might be my last job. It's not just about me. It's taken its toll on my whole family. It's been very tough to never be wanted, to feel that people wanted me to fail, to read people consistently saying I would feel that I was useless, a fat waste of space, a stupid, tactically inept cabbage head. Stupidly inept cabbage head. It is a sad indictment, isn't it? Really, I mean, you don't manage 1,000 Premier League games by accident, do you? I am glad he's not managing us. So. I'd have taken him over Solback, and I say that for free.
It's all about expectation, isn't it? And only time will tell. Yeah. I mean, I think his days were numbered as soon as these new people came in. But I said it last week, and we're looking at it now. They still haven't won a game. They seem to put up a decent fight against Spurs. Obviously, they scored first. I did watch a bit of it, but they've got 3 points still. They haven't won a game yet, and they can't do anything until January in terms of recruitment of players. And I shared it on the group earlier, but their December is worse than ours. It's horrific.
Yeah,
it's basically like Chelsea, Man United, Liverpool, and then Man City or something stupid. So the reason they've sacked him now is because they've got to get points on the board before December, because otherwise they're in real trouble. Yeah. If they don't get points on the board in the next 5 weeks or so, their run is just they could easily go with no points.
It's Leicester away, Liverpool at home, City at home, and Manchester United at home. So, Liverpool away. Sorry.
Yeah. Another thing that I thought was quite touching is Saint Maximin. He's like a legend, isn't he? Did you see his tweet he put out about it?
I didn't see the tweet.
He's so good on social media, and in terms of like players on social media, he's like miles ahead of everyone. I think of the way
he's smashing it, the
way he handles himself. Like he's a legend, and he like the Newcastle fans must absolutely love him, like the way he is.
Do you agree? Like, I keep seeing the thing of like Newcastle have been through horror and years of awful years and stuff. I don't know if we mentioned it last week. Maybe we did, but it will be interesting because, like you say, just because you can get a checkbook out in January, they've still got to adhere to some sort of financial fair play. I mean, the irony is that Mike Ashley has run it so well from a business point of view, is that they have got a little bit of leeway, haven't they?
Yeah. Well, I did say last week. No, I don't think they've had it that bad. They just don't really probably know what that bad is. Really, they should talk to fans of Bury or Grimsby or some of these teams that have really fallen down.
That don't exist.
The leagues. So
But
no, they're not that bad. I know it's all context, but
they dropped a bollock a bit, didn't they, the fans? Because I know the owners have asked them not to dress up with like the tea towels on their head and that.
Oh yeah, they did that.
Because I think that's like they take offence in Saudi over that, so they'll have to stop doing that one. Stop
going to
the heart attack as well. Did we speak about that last week? No, we didn't before.
No, well that was only over
having a heart attack. Yeah, oh yeah.
But so it'd be good.
It's all going off at Newcastle at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, they saved him, didn't they?
Wasn't it? Was it a doctor from the Midlands or from Birmingham?
I don't know. It was local to there.
Yeah, I thought it was a Newcastle.
CPR
Harry, if your dad saved someone in Newcastle, he's from the Midlands and he lives in Newcastle.
My dad had an heart attack running over to him trying to.
That's you off his Christmas card list.
Oh, excellent. Martin's asking what. First of all, Martin, I don't know if you saw the comments, lad. He's on about him being in the pool in America with his Hugh Grant accent. Anyway, he said, "What did Maximum say?" Just something like really praising Steve Bruce, saying he was amazing for him and he's a nice bloke and things like that. It's on Twitter if you want to look at it.
Excellent. Right. We will leave that there, I think. I mean, no one's going, are they? No one's going to Ellen Road?
I am.
No. Oh, you're going, are you?
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
I'm babysitting again.
Out myself, can I?
That's what he bloody likes, tell you
9
what.
o'clock train.
Oh, very nice. Train beers. Yeah.
Good days in Leeds. I think the last time I went was when Leon Clark scored the winner.
Oh my God, that's a while ago.
Yeah, it was Championship, I think, when we were shit. I remember it being 2-1 anyway.
Oh, there you go. Hopefully we'll have a repeat of that and then my bet will come in. Excellent. Well, we will say goodbye to Harry Mansell.
Yep. Goodbye, everyone, and see you next week, Bayless.
Jack Williams.
Bye, everybody.
And as long as the podcast doesn't dissolve, we will see you next week. And it's a goodbye from me. Goodbye.
Goodbye.